Hello, welcome back to the I Foster Juice podcast. I'm your host, Juice. I'm here with my co-host, Reen, and we're here not watching the Democratic presidential debates because we don't really care about the future of our country. We're here to amuse you. So without further ado, here's Reen. What's going on?
Fuck the country. Just kidding. Sorry. I didn't even know it was going on until I saw Twitter. See, that's how much I care.
Yeah, it doesn't make us good people. It's just all it shows is that we care about you guys way more than, the real life, the real world, all that shit going on in the real world. But
yeah, I can't be bothered with that.
I actually get bothered with it a lot. That's why I have a secondary account, and I go down rabbit holes, but that's why I try to avoid it here because I could be here all fucking day. But we're not gonna do that. I'll save you guys that horror. We're gonna talk about fights, and there's a lot of stuff to talk about. We have a review to do. We have some fights to cover, and we're also gonna do a little half year special since it's the end of June and International Fight Week's coming up. We're gonna recap a few of the fights. Let's start with our review of UFC Greenville. The night basically started with one of the first fights we covered. We're going to talk about was Deron Winn and Eric Spicely, which happened to be fight of the night that night. This is basically the first time I'd seen Deron Winn. I'd only seen a few highlights of him, and I got the idea. What Reen was telling me last week about him being a mini DC. It's pretty accurate, but seeing that fight was pretty awesome. Eric Spicely, I know some people kind of think he's nobody, but he's a tough guy. He's a tricky guy, and obviously, as he showed in the fight last weekend, he's got heart, man. Just something I never really thought about him. But it was a very entertaining fight. I was very impressed with Wynn's boxing for him being as young in his career. He's definitely clever, and he's definitely very analytical in what he does. I really enjoyed the fight, and I just want to give you props, Reen, for. I know you're not the only person in the world to know about Deron Winn, but without you, I probably would have known shit about him.
Yeah, he did amazing, man. He was cracking him. He was taking some knees, too.
Yeah. And
he
then
did not care.
That's what you were saying last week about the one thing you didn't like is Spicely so big. Well, compared to Winn in the length department, but he was using it. That was very smart of Spicely. Like, hey, this guy's way shorter than me. I can easily knee him in the face.
Yeah, definitely. And then, Wynn's hand speed is there. He can definitely crack. He was in front of Spicely the whole time, just not giving him any kind of respect. So It was definitely entertaining, man. 50 G's, baby.
What's funny is your comment kept sticking in my mind as I was watching that fight. The tiny but mighty. Like every big, I'm like, yeah, this dude is tiny but mighty. It's amazing.
Yeah, so I can't wait to see him fight again. He's talking all kinds of shit on Twitter right now.
Winn?
Yeah, he was talking shit earlier with some other fighter. I forgot who. He's trying to fish for fights, I think. So good for him. He's entertaining on Twitter.
Maybe I didn't catch it, but did he call anyone out after the fight? I don't think I heard him say anything.
No, he didn't call anyone out.
I don't even remember if there was a post-fight interview, to be honest. But
yeah.
I would be surprised given how good that fight was.
Yeah, there was an interview. Michael Bisping interviewed him afterwards.
And Bisping's very forceful. He's like, "Come on, call someone out right now."
Right.
I like, but it's funny to hear. One thing that caught my eye too. I think it was after the fight when they got word that they got the fight of the night. To see that tweet by Spicely, they said that how much he's loving life right now because his bank account was at negative $230 or something.
Yeah, I saw that.
That's crazy, man. But it was really sad too. It was kind of a stark moment because he just showed a little glimpse into the reality of people, fighters who aren't in the UFC for the most part, and two, you were in the UFC and you got cut, this is what your paydays are going to get reduced to. This guy was struggling just to make ends meet, obviously.
Right? Yeah, so he got his job back, got a huge bonus. Good for that guy, man.
Yeah, and just on a side note, I know a lot of people talk shit about fighter pay, and there's a lot to be said there. I'm not going to be one of those people that they should be happy with what they get, and definitely a conversation to be had. But I've always admired the fight of the night, the bonuses and stuff, because it really has changed people's lives, and that's not like just Dana propagating stuff. Some of the fighters have said that, but one example I always go to is Courtney Casey. Her first two UFC fights were fight of the nights, and I believe she lost both of them. But fight of the nights, two fights in a row, plus her base win, plus whatever the tiny amount Reebok was giving her. It ended up being over like $100,000. Now, obviously, you got to take out taxes and the whole deal, but that was way more than she must be making at her 9 to 5 job. And I remember her starting to train with Joanna and Jacek. Like it looked very obvious to me after the fact that she invested that money into her training. Like she started traveling to train with better girls, to put more time in the gym. And I was like, man, if you really don't have much and you get a few of these bonuses, it can really help you out, because you can really invest it into your career, which I don't think a lot of people think about that as far as fighting goes, because I think people just think you have a set amount of time and that's all that you got, but money really does help in your career.
Oh yeah, definitely, because that probably set her up so she doesn't really have to work a 9 to 5.
Yep. Yeah,
She,
exactly.
she doesn't have to juggle all that and worry about that. I mean, having the stress of making ends meet. Oh, I mean, that's got to be a struggle too. So
Yeah, that's what's amazing too. I mean, there's plenty of UFC fighters who have other jobs as well, which kind of sucks, but but same could be said for Bellator, PFL, whatever. But especially if you look at like regional shows, like 90% of those people, 95% of those people are, they're part-time fighters, and some of these people are very skilled, and you're like, damn, like you're this good, and you're training what 2 hours a day, 3 hours a day. Like imagine what you can do with that time. So props to Spicely, man. I don't know how much, what he was doing, how much he was making before he got cut, but clearly this is a big step up from a big step up as far as well, literally his fortune in his bank account. So hopefully he can use this. Hopefully he sticks around the UFC a little bit more, and hopefully he continues to get better, because I enjoyed that. It's not good to get in wars like that all the time, but it was enjoyable for that time being, and hopefully it advances his career somewhat.
yeah, they were they were good dance partners for each other.
For sure, for sure. Next fight that we had talked about was Ariane Lipsky and Molly McCann. So I don't think I've ever seen people get off of a hype train as quickly and as suddenly as people did with Ariane Lipsky. Shout outs to the WMMA yearbook, also known as Steven Rivers, who literally said that he's done with MMA now. Shocker. Keeps doing this.
Wait, wasn't he done last month?
Yeah, he's done every month, but yeah, he said that he was done if McCann beats Lipsky, because for some reason he has an unnatural hatred of McCann because he thinks that she's terrible. But
What?
yeah, but I mean, what I saw in that fight, I'm gonna say Lipsky was way more terrible than McCann was. Just going
Yeah,
out on a limb here, just going out on a limb.
dude, back to back awesome fights, man. McMahon like performed. McCann, I mean, she performed, man. Dude, that was so entertaining. I love her fighting style.
She's such a wild animal, man. I'm trying to think of who to compare her to, but it's kind of hard. Like that's kind of what I like about her. She's kind of her own person, especially it seems like on the women's side, since it can be a sexist thing or it can be a time thing, just given that they haven't been in the sport as long. And a lot of people are like, oh, she's like the female insert male fighter here. She's like the female Robbie Lawler. She's like the female Jon Jones. Well, with her, it's just like she's just an action fighter, man. She's just an animal, and I love it.
Yeah, she showed us a lot of everything. You know what I mean? Like she scooped her up both
Yeah,
rounds, scooped
just
her
for
up,
the
and then
fuck of it.
yeah, just to show us that she can do it. And then just the shuffling, the movement, like She was just constantly in her face. She's taking punches. She's throwing spinning shit. I was so amazed with it. I mean, and then Lipsky is a stand-up fighter, and she didn't know what to do with her.
I asked this during the night. This is all I kept thinking from I think the first round on. Do you remember anybody missing as much as she had? She was just swinging that air the whole night.
Yeah.
And the weird thing is, like, Lipsky is not just that we thought she was a good striker, is that she's not like a winger. She's not Diego Sanchez, you know? Diego Sanchez misses a lot, but look at the way he fights. She looks to be technical. She looks to be measured in her striking and things like that, but for some reason she couldn't fucking hit nothing. She's just swinging that air.
Nothing at all.
And McCann had good defense. You know, she used some angles. She was doing her thing, but for the most part, she's a pretty stationary fighter, and she couldn't hit her.
Yeah, I know. It was crazy, man. That last 10 seconds was crazy too, though.
Yeah. I mean, she loves to stand and bang, and just like, and especially in the last 10 seconds, like, well, fuck it, here's your chance. And I think she hit her once, twice.
Mm-hmm.
Like, even when she gave you a free shot to her face, you're just like, you couldn't do it. I don't know. The real optimistic side of me wants to say that was just a really, really bad performance, and her boyfriend broke up with her the day before, and she had a terrible weight cut, and every single excuse in the book. But it seems like such an outlier, but it is possible that she's just not all that she was cracked up to be. Which, if you've seen any of her highlights heading into the UFC, it's ridiculous. Like, she was so exciting, and that Violence Queen moniker, it wasn't just, you know, for the fuck of it. It was apt at one point, but definitely not anymore.
Yeah, that's her second loss in the UFC, so I wonder what's going to happen. She's going to have one more fight and then maybe get cut if she doesn't win, or
that definitely seems to be the case. But it's like, who do you give her? You know, flyweight is she for sure should stick around because it's a young division. But it's like, I don't know if they're just gonna pick up someone from Invicta or just some regional girl, maybe some contender series girl. Because I don't think she can't go against a Shukagian, another Calderwood, even you know, and anybody in the division will tear her up.
Yeah.
Well, I actually, I think I got a good one. Tell me what you think. Nadia Kassem, maybe the Luka girl.
That might be possible. Sorry if I'm laughing, but
well,
kind of similar.
You know, yeah, Kassem's crazier, not just by the tattoos, but I mean, I just hope it's entertaining because the McCann fight was entertaining, but that was mostly a product of Meatball, not of Lipsky.
Yeah. She looked like she was having a good time. The crowd was cheering her on. She was really digging that. So, and I guess that was her first fight in the United States. So,
well, I don't know Oh no, I think the last fight was in Brazil. The Calderwood fight. Pretty sure. Yeah, I think that was the Jose Aldo Moicano fight. So yeah, I think so. Are you willing to proclaim that she's a bust as of now, or do you think give her one more fight and we'll know for sure?
maybe one more just to see. I wonder if it's UFC jitters.
But twice?
Yeah, I mean,
in Greenville?
She had Calderwood, right? That's a tough matchup.
That is a tough fight. No complaints from me there. And she did better in that fight. That's the weird thing. She did better in that fight against a better fighter in her UFC debut than she did in this one. That's why it seems like an outlier to me.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe she's just hesitant because she lost her first one. I don't know, man. She's just trying to be too careful with the second fight.
Trying not to lose instead of trying to win, kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah. I can see that. That might be a good theory on that. So we usually reserve tweet of the week for later on, but since we're about the next fighter, one of the next fighters, I figured we'd just cover it now. So Just Bleed MMA once again gets tweet of the week. There were so many great tweets this week, but I proclaimed it on that night, so I wasn't going to go back to it. So congrats to @JustBleedMMA. He tweeted, If you don't like Andrea Lee, then you're a sensitive ass mofo. Props to him for remembering that line, the line that is guaranteed to piss off so many people. But I agree with him. Andrea Lee's the shit, and I agree with that. If you don't like her, you're a sensitive ass mofo. I won't take it back. But she beat Montana De La Rosa on Saturday night, and I was very impressed by it. But I was surprised to hear that she wasn't. KGB didn't sound too thrilled. I saw an interview with her, and she said that was probably one of her worst performances. Is this, you think, just she's just being real tough on herself, Rain, or do you think she's just was in the moment and probably didn't think about what she was saying? What do you think?
I think she's being too tough on herself. I mean, I thought she did really well. She stuffed some of those takedowns. I
I think
mean,
most
damn.
of them. I mean, even the ones where she got, it reminded me a lot of like Aldo. Aldo would get taken down from time to time, but he would always get right back up. You know, it was never a thing of like you're holding him down and doing damage, and that's what it reminded me of.
Right. And she fought in February. She had a quick turnaround. She's still on this amazing, winning streak. So I mean, yeah, it sounds like she's just being too hard on herself, but I mean, what fighter really isn't, so
Well, to me, that's always a sign of a good fighter, of a usually a future champion. It's like, well, you're tough on yourself even in your wins. But from what I'd read, it seemed like there was a personal thing. We all know, we mentioned it on the store in the show a few weeks ago, that her husband had been caught for what he'd done to her, and I'm sure she was just trying to push it aside and ignore it. But we're all human, and I'm sure that probably got to her at some point and just brought up bad memories. And I heard her say that she had a really good camp and that she has no excuses and that she felt really good. For some reason, when she went in there, she thought she could have pulled the trigger more and didn't, which is just so surprising because she was very tired in that third round, which is understandable given how what a hellacious pace it was. But in the last minute of that fight, she just went ape shit. She just started, pounding on De La Rosa and even going for that like inverted triangle. Like, damn, I was like, the balls on this chick, man. She's just going for it, even when she doesn't have to.
yeah. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I mean, I was on the edge of my seat just squirming every time De La Rosa would try to take her down because she can do it. She can do that. She can sub you. So, but yeah, I mean, Lee would just get right back up or find a way to get back up. So,
Yeah, it sounds very similar to how I was. We gave Montana that credit, that she is very very legit on the floor and that she could tap out basically anybody. So yeah, that it sounds like we had the exact same experience.
yeah, so I mean, she's still ranked number 10, so I wonder who she's going to get next and when.
She's on a 3-fight winning streak, and I think, well, Jessica I just lost obviously, but she was on a 3-fight winning streak when she fought Shevchenko. Obviously, that it was much newer at that point when she'd gotten her wins, but I mean, I think now, well, especially that Carmouche is gonna fight Shevchenko next. I mean, should they just do her and Shukagian and as the number one slash number two contender?
Yeah, that's possible.
You think that's a good fight? I mean, Shukagian looked really good against Calderwood, but I still maintain that KGB is one of the best strikers in the game,
Yeah,
male, female. I really do think she's that good,
yeah.
and
Man,
of course her grappling is always getting better too.
yeah, those jabs, man. It's crazy, man. She kept on popping that jab.
Yeah, she's so slick.
Uh-huh. So,
Yep.
yeah. Dude, flyweights awesome, man.
And you told me something off air too, that you're telling me about her, right, when you're saying that her coaches were telling her that she's losing the fight.
Yep.
Yeah, and I didn't get wind of this. I had no idea about this, but I actually think that's a good sign. I think that shows that her coaches know her and that they didn't want to take any risk of having a bad decision go her way. So they're really motivated to get the win, and they know her enough to know what will motivate her. So
Yep. Yep. That's the best to do it, right? That's the best way to do it.
yeah, I don't get this. coddling fighter shit of, oh, you're winning when you're clearly 2 rounds down. Like what is this gonna accomplish?
Right.
Yeah. We did cover Rob Font and John Lineker, but that got canceled last minute. I found it. I don't know who tweeted or where I saw this, but people were like, "Who called the fight off because of a cut?" I'm like, it happens all the time. That's the whole thing of how Elite XC went down with Kimbo and Seth Petrozelli. That Ken Shamrock got a cut on his eyebrow like 2 hours before the fight, and that's how it happens. I remember Gustafson too, years back, like 3 days before the fight, they replaced him because he'd gotten a cut. So
Who got a cut? Lineker?
Lineker, yeah.
Oh, damn, dude, it was Lineker? I didn't know.
But I mean, are you surprised? You probably fucking like ran into a wall or some shit. A fucking animal.
Oh my god, dude.
I mean, it's I think it speaks to the card that I was it sucked. I was like, damn, this sucks when I heard about it, but I thought the card was pretty good regardless. I wasn't like, man, this card was okay. It would have been much better if Lineker was on it. Like I was perfectly fine with how the card turned out, even though he wasn't on it.
Yeah. I'm just surprised because he wanted to fight so bad and he got this opportunity.
I wonder. I hadn't even thought about this till just right now, but I wonder if they're gonna try to rebook that one because remember this wasn't what was booked. Font was supposed to fight Cody Stamen, and he fell out last minute, and then Lineker popped in on like 2-3 weeks notice,
Yep.
and he fell. So it's like, do they want to put Stamen back? Because who knows how severe that injury was, and then Lineker obviously she should be back in a few weeks. I mean, he doesn't need too much time to recover from a cut on his eyebrow.
Yeah. I wonder if they'll do part 2.
And especially with Font that he lost the first one, it's like, do you want to risk it or are you really motivated to get that one back?
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. It'll be interesting. But I like both those guys, so whoever they fight, I'm gonna watch. But yeah, that was canceled. But the main event, well, didn't take very long. Korean Zombie went. Oh, he landed some fucking nuclear warheads on Moicano, man.
Oh my god.
He's been talking to Kim Jong Un, boy.
Damn, he's from South Korea though, right?
I know, but they crossed that line, Reen. I saw them holding hands and
Oh,
sharing Skittles, and I don't know what the fuck else. As I said, we don't follow politics. Well, we don't talk politics here on anyway.
Man, I picked Moicano because
Yeah,
I
I did too.
Yeah, I didn't think just that vicious elbow, man.
Well, I mean, when the fight's that short, I mean, and we don't, this fight's not gonna last a minute, then I'd be like, okay, then Korean Zombie's winning. But
Yeah.
obviously, that's the safe bet. At least I thought in my mind was because, like, all right, I expect this fight to be at least 3 rounds, scheduled for 5, but I expect it to go at least 2 to 3 rounds. And in that time range, Korean Zombie's most likely going to get hit, and if he gets hit hard enough, he's going to go down. But
Yeah.
you didn't let Moicano do a goddamn thing.
Damn, dude, that was so vicious, man. I think he changed his life.
Well, you see that first punch, you're like, oh,
Yes.
shit. And then he's going down, and he lands the other one, you're like, oh, shit. And then he gets on top of him, you're like, oh, well, he's kind of surviving. But I don't know about you, but I had this feeling in the back of my head the whole time. I'm like, he's not okay. He's not okay. I don't think he's going to get out of this. Like, he's surviving, but I don't think he's going to be able to fight his way out of it. And sure enough, he didn't.
He didn't know where he was. There's no
way. It was
way.
all just instinct, right? Just move,
Yeah.
just cover, move, cover. But he wasn't really trying to fight at that point.
Yeah, just the way his like head moved back, like snapped back when he got punched in the face so hard, like
Shit was terrifying.
seriously, like that looks so scary. I'm like, holy shit, man! I've never seen it like that before.
I don't remember the last time I reacted that loudly to punches that didn't knock somebody out cold. Like the way he landed, I'm like, oh, dude, he's done. And yeah, he finished them, but it was technically a TKO. But the way he landed, I'm like, how did he not go out cold from those 2 punches? From one of those punches.
Crazy, man. Fuck, dude. I had no idea, but I forgot he's Korean, so. Koreans are crazy.
They are.
Different level.
And speaking of that, I mean, I'd kind of seen. I mentioned it, but I saw other people tweeting about it, and I saw people even tweeting about it beforehand. But I don't know. It's so crazy that am I the only one too that it can't just be me, right? Do you just like get so amped up and get goosebumps when he comes out, like hearing "Zombie" by the Cranberries, knowing he's coming out? Like, isn't it like the perfect song?
Yeah, he's fucking awesome, man.
And
Dude.
I'd mentioned on Twitter, but I'm really, oh my god, I'm really waiting to hear from you on this because of your history. But I was like, man, how crazy is this? So, everyone thinks that MMA is this cesspool of like bunch of homophobes and bigots and all this racist and everybody loves the Korean Zombie. I don't care where you're from or what color you are. Everybody loves this dude. And I tweeted something like that. Somebody replied, "Yeah, these people are cheering from in South Carolina, no less." And then I'd totally forgotten, Reen, that you lived there for part of your life.
Yeah, I did. And I was surprised to see so many Koreans in the crowd.
I
I was so fucking surprised. I'm like, oh, hey, there you guys are. Because seriously, when I lived there, I thought I was the only Asian there because I was always black and white. And I lived in Columbia, which was like the capital of South Carolina. It was pretty heavily populated with like a whole mix of people because we had like Shaw Air Force Base, which was like an hour away. Columbia had an army base, and then the University of South Carolina is there too. So, but seriously, every time I would see an Asian person, it would be in a Chinese restaurant. I'm not trying to be racist. I'm just saying, man.
well,
Like,
it's probably the only place they felt safe, and maybe you too.
right? Like it was always black and white, and I was just like that one girl, like you're not from around here type of girl. Like what are
So,
you type of girl? Like we don't recognize your kind, you know. So, but it was pretty fucking amazing, man. Just all those Korean flags and just, yeah, bunch of Asians out there. And then, other people too. White people. White people like cheering them on and they got a shirt on and everything and just going wild. Dude, that fucking place just erupted.
yeah, it was nuts, right? That's like I swear to God, and I know that the Irish, when with Connor, he has a big crowd and all that, but like even like early on in his career, like when he fought Poirier before he became like this giant megastar, some of Connor's fights with how loud the crowd was. Aldo in Brazil, like honestly, I think that the reaction that night was up there with those legends in their hometowns. Like you swear to God that fight could have been in South Korea.
Crazy, right? And he soaked it all in. He jumped up on that cage and he is soaking it all in, man. It was so crazy.
He flies in the face. I'm sure I've mentioned this on the show before, but it's something that I didn't get it 10 years ago when I started watching the sport. And I don't get it now, but Korean Zombie's the only person that flies in the face of this. I've never understood when I started watching the sport that people would be like, oh well, if you're a foreigner, you need to learn English. That you're not going to be a star if you don't learn English, and the fans don't respect you or don't like you or learn English. And me growing up at boxing, I'm Mexican, so a lot of my favorite fighters were Mexican, and a lot of them didn't speak English. I didn't really care, but I was like, well, I know a lot of Mexicans watch it, so they don't really care. So maybe it's a thing of the audience, but I think Americans who don't speak Spanish probably saw guys like like Tito Trinidad and Julio Cesar Chavez. They didn't, they liked them. They liked them. They didn't care that they didn't speak English, but that was always a thing in the sport. Like you need to assimilate. You need to learn English, and I don't think anybody gives a shit that Korean Zombie's probably never gonna learn English or never move. Well, he said he wanted to move to the States, right? I'm not.
Did he
I
say
heard that
that?
right. Yeah, that he was thinking. I don't know if he already had or he was very close to doing so. So that'd be cool
Dude,
in terms of his training and whatnot. But as far
dude,
as him learning English and all that, I don't give a shit.
I know, right? Well, will his driver's license say zombie on it? He changed, like he changed his name, right?
Oh man, that
That's badass. Like,
that would be so cool.
oh my god.
That
That's
would be so
amazing,
cool.
man. Hell yeah, man. I want to see his
Yeah, but
driver's license.
that was. I swear though, that was honestly a moment for me on Saturday night. I'm like, man, this is the first time in a while, maybe ever in MMA that I felt like a moment of unity.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, yeah. I get it.
there's been moments like that with like, like when Randy Couture retired or, so several retirements. That's kind of like the only time where you kind of feel happy and you kind of get emotional and stuff. That was the only time I'm like, man, just total solidarity. Like everybody in the world loves this dude, and for good reason.
Yeah. So badass, man.
That thing of that, fighting is a universal language. That dude embodies that. I said, I'm like, I know this is maybe blasphemy to some people, but he's like a modern day Bruce Lee, man. Uh, back in the day, Bruce Lee was admired by, I mean, everybody, but especially minorities, because he's like, oh, he's the one guy on in Hollywood that doesn't look like a typical white guy. I know there's a lot of black people who loved Bruce Lee in the '70s, and of course Asians did as well. And he was like the minority speaking out for everybody. And with Korean Zombie, it's like it doesn't matter, man. He's just such a badass fighter that everybody loves him.
Yo, amazing, dude. It's so crazy. It was a treat just to watch him fight, but just for his win like that, god damn, dude. God damn. That might be KO of the year later on.
Yeah, I think it's a contender. There's been so many good ones, but I
Yeah.
wouldn't put it past of it being a contender.
Yep.
But yeah, but that does for the UFC stuff. We're gonna have a quick word on Bellator because they did have an event over the weekend. Although it was ridiculously hard to find, it took me like a day and a half to get through all of it. But
What do you
I
mean?
want
It wasn't
what
on the zone?
it was, but the Musasi Lovato fight wasn't. I had to,
What?
yeah, I had to look on the app for that. It took me a while to do that, and then the zone, they had most of the fights, but it ended with Daily Silva. What? Yeah, Silva. I'm like, wait, I'm getting his name wrong. Yeah, Daily Silva. But those are the two main fights I want to talk about. So I don't know. Am I crazy, Reen? That the Paul Daly Eric Silva fight, I didn't think was that exciting. Maybe I had high hopes and it didn't live up to them. But did you think it was all that?
I thought it was badass. Holy shit, man. I thought Daly was going to end up losing because that first round was rough for him. Eric
Yeah.
Silva was all over him, and then the second round was crazy. I don't know how many times Silva got cracked, but he would not go away.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess I just thought it was gonna be a quick finish or a 3 round war, and it
Um,
was it was competitive at points, but it wasn't this rock'em sock'em robots.
wow, well, man, Silva kept on taking those body shots. I don't know how he survived that either.
Yeah, maybe I didn't pay as much attention as I should, but yeah, I think it was. I just had really really high hopes,
Yeah, it
really
sounded
high.
rough. I don't know if they turn up the mic for that or what, but dude, it sounded so rough. I'm just like so amazed that Silva just lasted that long.
Oh, you
Like,
mean like the body shots and stuff?
yes, I'm
Yeah,
like, holy shit, dude.
yeah.
That's so crazy. Like he's dropping bombs on this kid and just no, he wouldn't go away.
Yeah, and maybe this is another thing that called me crazy, but for some reason I know it wasn't. I know it's not that exciting, but for some reason I kind of thought that the Musashi Lovato fight was not more exciting exactly, but it was just so much more intriguing because I just did not see it going like that. It was it was a was it a split decision or you not? Oh no, it was I think a majority decision, but still like it was a close fight and I didn't think Lovato was gonna take it like that.
I
I gave him
know.
a shot, but I just did not expect that to happen.
I know. I guess they're gonna rematch, huh?
Okay, so what do you think about that?
It kind of sucks, but I get it why Bellator is doing that, because Gagar is one of their biggest signings. So yeah,
I
star power. I don't know if they have like a rematch clause or not, but
It's MMA, probably not. But well, I hadn't thought much of it, but now that I think about it, it's like, well, I would be upset, especially if this is something like the UFC. But yeah, in Bellator, who are you gonna throw in there? Shlemenko? Honestly, I can't even think of another middleweight out there. I know he won it from Carvalho, but I think he went up in weight. Like, there's not another contender that kind of screams at you, right? That
no.
And it was such a close fight too. Like Musasi I could see him winning a rematch. Like he just needs to do some adjustments. But man, you cannot fuck with Lovato on the ground. It's not just how good he is. You could tell that he's pretty strong in there too. He's not just a black belt. Like he's a pretty physical dude as well.
Yeah, phenomenal. Fucking yeah. I think the jiu-jitsu world like Europe did with that one because one of their own like
I
got the belt.
I thought the jiu-jitsu world erupted when Dylan Dennis got his win 2 weeks ago.
Who?
The 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 staph infection guy.
Staff ringworm. Like what doesn't he have?
Did you see that tweet? What's homeboy's name? Doug Nasty, the Bryce Mitchell, that country ass white boy from the UFC, because Dylan had put one of his posts. It was him with like another porn star in front of a Rolls Royce or whatever, and he tweeted something to the effect of like, "You better tell that girl be careful, or she's gonna get all that staph infection and shit on her leg."
Yep, I saw that, and I had to look at his leg. I'm like, this really? Can you try to cover it up at least? Or at least like Photoshop that shit out? You look so fucking ridiculous, man.
Well, wasn't that years ago?
I don't know.
Yeah, that was like Abu Dhabi. That was like.
Is that the one? No, that's a recent picture, right?
The one with the girl?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but I'm talking about the staph infection. The one
yeah.
God,
Yeah. Idiot. Fucking idiot.
Oh man, that guy. Anyway, so that was a little recap of Bellator. One last thing, and did we even talk about this last week, Rain? I don't think we talked about bare knuckle, right?
No, we didn't.
No, we didn't. But we're guilty. We watched. We watched. We'll just say that. Man, I don't know. I don't know. I knew I would watch come fight night because I'm like, I don't know. I'm just a junkie, and UFC ended early and Bellator was lagging, so I'm like, all right, I guess I'll watch this shit. But I don't know. I wasn't impressed. I mean, I know it's bare knuckle. You can only expect so much, but I don't know. That's nowhere near what I expected it to be as far as how I expected that fight to go.
Seriously, with all that buildup and fucking like negative energy, Paulie spitting on the proper 12 truck, Paulie saying that he'd even spit on Connor's mom. Like, what, throwing a mic at Artem, right? Oh, no, he hit him with the mic. Brawled with him before the conference, or like, yeah, before the press conference. Like, there's just so much that went down. And then once it happened, it's like, oh, that's it? Huh, okay.
It's kind of weird just watching that fight. I was like, I know this might be surprising, but I'm actually gonna give Lobov credit. I've always thought he's a decent boxer. His counter, he's a very good counter puncher, which isn't easy to do, especially given his reach, as Reen always goes on about his little T-Rex arms. Yeah, honestly, you got to give him credit. He's pretty good with his hands, but it's just weird that seeing that fight, he was going against a very accomplished boxer, but Lobov technically had the experience because he's fought a few bare knuckle fights already, and it seems like that was the deciding factor in it.
Yeah. Dude, I didn't even watch it illegally or nothing. It was all available for me to watch. I didn't even care. I just didn't give a shit.
Yeah, I don't blame you. I wish I was like you, and I know eventually you caved and whatnot. And I think it's just out of morbid curiosity, but
yes, because I wanted to see what happened with Paulie's hands. Because it was bandaged. Both of them they were bandaged. I'm like, okay, but he lost. So what happened?
Let's be real here. I think the same part of our brain that wanted us to watch this fight is the same part of our brain that wanted to watch the Randy Couture jacking off tape. I did one. I didn't do the other.
Yeah.
But I know it comes from the same place.
Yeah, pretty much. So, yeah. This is like whatever, but I heard that he got paid. Paid.
Which is, oh God, that's a whole fucking, oh my God, I don't know. I'm not even going to go into that because I still don't believe it, but
7 figures, man.
Yeah, I don't want to.
That kind of money?
Nope.
They have that kind, like where? Like, huh?
This is crazier than, Ryzen paying Floyd all those millions of dollars. I mean, I'm sure it was Yakuza money, but well, never mind. I didn't. I'll take that back. It wasn't Yakuza money, but I'm just saying some shady dealings had to go on because there's no way they have this money, and there's no way they're gonna recuperate this money. But Florida.
Crazy, man. So, well, yeah.
But it is kind of weird though that I couldn't. There's just one last thing on this. I couldn't escape this feeling that it seemed like Paulie was kind of, I don't know, nervous or scared. Like he definitely seemed out of his element, didn't he?
Yeah, he probably was surprised that, I mean, because Tampa is his second home, I think, from what I understand, because he has
Paulie?
a house out there. Yeah, he has a house out there too.
Oh, I didn't know
So,
that.
so all these people were cheering Artem on. So I think he was kind of like not digging that, hey, it's supposed to be for me, this is why we're here, but he was getting booed.
Even weirder given the fact that didn't Artem almost get in a fight with some fans like on the way-in or something?
I think so.
I thought everybody was with Artem, and then I seen that picture. I was like, wait, he's trying to fight with people. I didn't know what happened, but I'm like, that's kind of weird.
Yep. So yeah, it's just definitely strange. It's supposed to be in his backyard, but yeah, nobody likes him, motherfucker, man. Nobody likes him. Like spitting on people, talking about people's moms, talking about MMA fans. Like there's mostly MMA fans in that crowd. Oh, fuck you, Polly.
So you get. All right, so that's the review of last week. Now we're going to get into this week's preview of UFC Minneapolis. And we're only going to cover a few fights, but I want to start with Roosevelt Roberts and Vince Pichel. This seems like kind of a weird fight to me because I like Roosevelt Roberts. I have for a long time because I knew him since the regional scene. I knew him even since before he made his UFC debut or his Contender Series debut. And Vince Pichel's a decent fighter, but I don't know. The thing with Roberts, I just noticed too, looking at his record, he had all finishes up until his last fight when he took on that crazy Jesus mofo, that long-haired white boy that has Jesus tattooed on his bicep. That went to a decision, but I don't know if they're giving him Pichel because they think that he can style on him, or if it's like an actual step up, if they want to see if they can actually beat this guy. What do you think, Green?
I thought it was when I was looking at this. I'm like, is this too soon? I think this is it. I mean,
Well, yeah, that's what I'm asking. Like, I don't know because this could be a really tough fight, but it's also like, did they put this on because they think that he's gonna whoop his ass? Because I don't know. I wouldn't put it past the show.
dude, he's a young kid too. Roberts, man, what a step up. He's only 25 years old, man.
Yeah,
And he's only fought twice in the UFC or just that one fight?
I want to say if it wasn't twice, it was 3 times, but no more than 3 times if you
Yeah.
count the Contender Series and stuff too. But
Damn, dude. I don't know. This is gonna be a hard fight, man.
I'm just saying it right now. I'm going with Roberts. I think it's gonna be a
Yeah.
while before I go against him. It's gonna have to be against a fighter I really like or a guy who's like way, way, way more experienced. Or until he shows some holes in his game, which I don't think he's shown too many so far.
Yeah, go get it. Yeah, I have him down too. Yeah, it's gonna be an interesting fight. Yeah. Like I don't know what else to say. Like, is it too soon or what? Damn.
Yeah, I think this is one of those fights that after it's done, we're just gonna be like, oh, okay. We're gonna find out something like, okay, yeah, he's legit, or you're gonna find out like, okay, he's got a lot of work to do, type thing,
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Another fight we're covering, Anthony Rocco Martin's fighting Damian Maia.
Did he get permission? Did he get permission for this fight?
Don't say these things out loud, Rain.
Did you call him Anthony?
Yeah, it's Anthony Rocco Martin. It used to be Tony Martin, but I don't know. I don't know what the problem with that was. But anyway, relationships and names and all that shit aside, I actually like Anthony Rocco Martin. I guess I've always liked him, and then I realized that Anthony Rocco Martin and Tony Martin were the same people. So I've liked him since he came on the scene, but I forgot that they were the same person.
Because he had to change his name.
Yeah, he did. But he's facing Damian Maia, and I don't know. I counted out Maia with Lyman Good, and we saw how that worked out.
Yep.
And
Yep. I take Maya for that one too.
Yeah, because that's you're going with the OG, you know.
I had to. It's Maya.
It's bias, yeah. It's your bias too, but it's okay. That's what we're here for, to talk about our own biases. But I don't know. I want to say that Martin's skilled and he's good enough to take out Maya, which I do believe. But at the same time, I just have this feeling like Maya usually takes guys like this out. You know, you see the people who've taken him out lately. It's Covington, Usman, Woodley, like legit killers. You know, like I don't think Martin's on that level. So I think Martin has a chance, but given the track record, I think Maya beats him. I think a decision. I think he's smart enough to stay out of some of these subs.
Yeah. I have Maya down. He's probably gonna sub him. It'll be easy.
You think it'll be easy, really?
Yeah, I think so. It's Maya, man. He's gonna find a way to just grab a hold of him and just make it quick.
Here's the thing: is that well, Martin has some a few knockouts on his resume, but I wouldn't put it past him to actually be able to knock out Maya. But I think it'll take a lot because I mean, even Woodley couldn't knock out Maya.
Yep.
I'm trying to think of many other people. I mean, I know Anderson started fucking around in this fight, but he couldn't. I think the only legit KO in Maya's career has been Nate Marquardt, which was his first loss. And this was Marquardt was probably juiced to the tits, and you know this is the Wild West days of UFC. So
Yeah. And Maya has that old man strength. I believe in that now.
you believe in that?
Yeah, because Teixeira's still doing the thing, you know?
True. Yeah.
So Maya's up there, 41 years old. So, yep.
Henderson was like the original, you know. Dan Henderson was like, yeah, that's dad strength at its finest.
Yep. So I'm going to go with Maya. Sorry,
Yeah.
Anthony.
Yeah, going with Maya too. Moving on. Flyweight fight, easily, you know, undisputably number one contender fight between Joseph Benavidez and Jussier Formiga, and as with every flyweight fight, don't know what to make of it because, well, it seems like the division's staying around now, but I don't know what this fight means anymore. Although it technically means everything. It's the co-main event, the number one contender fight, but especially now with Cejudo's not just the champ shit, but the fact that he got surgery, there's no guarantee that they're gonna fight next or that they're even gonna be willing to sit on the sidelines because who knows how long it may take. They may have to take another fight just for money. Like it's
Yeah.
that bad.
Yeah. I know you're like, number one contender. I'm like, for
It
what?
is.
For what, though? I mean, yeah, it is, but it's like, for what?
And it's a rematch, you know. I mean, Benavidez beat the fucking snot out of Formiga the first time.
What
You
is it
know, that
all
was a long
weekly?
time. That was a long time ago, and
I have Benavidez.
I have Formiga. I can't shake that feeling. I know he beat the shit out of Perez and Dustin Ortiz. I know he's still really good, but for some reason that Sergio Pettis fight does not leave my mind.
I
I
get it.
don't know why. And Formiga, I know he's a grappler way more than a striker, but I think shit's changed since the first fight. Benavidez was a fucking monster when they fought the first time, but he's lost a little bit of steam. He's still very good, but he's
Yeah.
lost a little bit of steam, and Formiga just seems to be, you know, keep getting better and better. If he took out Figueiredo in the way that he did, I kind of wouldn't be surprised if he's able to do it to Benavidez.
I wish they would just make this like the interim, the interim fight or something like.
I know they throw belts around and they think it's necessary for anything and everything, but this is one of those like this is it's very well deserved. It really
Uh-huh.
could be and should be, but nobody's gonna care. Even hardcores, even me. I'm like, why? But the thing is, it's just the nature of the division. It's like,
Uh-huh.
yeah, man. It's
Where's everybody going? What's gonna happen after July?
why July? Is that what the date that they had originally said or something? It was rumored.
No, it just seems like every time like after International Fight Week, they see how much money they made or whatever, and they just start making all these changes and
Are you talking about like also like when
logistically.
Reebok came in, USADA, the UFC sale,
Yeah,
like things
things
like
like
that?
that. Yeah.
Mm, I
So
get you.
there's only 12 people in the division now.
Yeah, it's crazy because I seen Brandon Moreno fight on LFA a few weeks back, like 2 or 3 weeks back, and he won the title from a pretty talented fighter. And obviously he's not UFC caliber, and Moreno is, but seeing that fight, I'm like, man, this kid still got it. I really like Brandon Moreno. He's one of the few Mexicans I do like because he makes pinatas and shit. But he does. His family does make pinatas. I found that so amusing for some reason. But
That's cool, man.
it is cool. He's like helps his parents make pinatas and shit. It's very. If you guys don't know how to do it, it's pretty interesting. You should like look up how they make them. It's like basically like a giant balloon in like yeast or something. It's kind of weird. But anyway, he's a legit, legit one of the best flyweights in the world, and he's in LFA fighting. Basically, yeah, he had a loss or two, but it's like he shouldn't be here. He's clearly a UFC caliber guy, but there's
Yeah.
no home for him, unfortunately. I don't know why, but there isn't.
He was one of my favorites, man.
Yeah, when he finished what's his name? Hawaiian dude, Smoka. I was like, damn, that was one of the biggest like I remember whenever that happened that year, I was like, man, this is one of the biggest upsets of the year. This kid's for real. And I liked him even like on the Ultimate Fighter, but I
Yep.
never thought he would be like that when it came time to UFC. And then I remember even his fight with Sergio Pettis, I really, really enjoyed. That was
Yeah.
like the only flyweight fight that ever headlined anything.
Yeah, man. God. Fucking Cejudo. Sorry. I'm like looking at the rankings and then both of his pictures are like next to each other. So
Oh man, just as a I had to mention this to you, but I was listening to Renato Laranja's podcast, and Cejudo came on. Holy shit, you're gonna hate Cejudo even more if you ever listen to that shit. He was high, he'd eaten an edible and shit. He was, oh my god, he was like such a
oh god.
lazy stoner, like laughing at everything. I was like, oh my god, Irene would fucking hate this shit.
I haven't heard Hanato in a long time too.
He's hilarious, man. He's one of the new few podcasts I'm listening to.
His
I'm at the
accent is fucking amazing.
I'm at the point with MMA now that I'm just like I just need entertainment, man, because the fights are cool and I still love watching the fights. But as far as like coverage and all that shit, it seems like a lot of people are battling over petty shit. Like this thing that happened with Luke Thomas.
Oh god.
Like I'm like, dude, just calm your little titties down, man. I've never understood the hate, and then people were on Chael's nutsack for some fucking reason just because they didn't like him and all that petty shit. I'm like, man, see, this is why I'm trying not to follow like mainstream, quote unquote, mainstream MMA news. I'd rather listen to Just Bleed and Valley Chudo Hour just because it fucking makes me laugh. So
Yeah.
this is what I'm reduced to, people.
Yeah, I guess Luke's shows are over. MMA Beat and MMA Hour.
But it seems like it's because he wants to focus on his family and stuff. Which hey, good for him.
Oh yeah?
Oh. This is something that I don't know if you've ever looked into. Do you know how old Luke Thomas is?
Oh, how old is he?
Guess. Just take a wild guess.
Is he in his 30s? 36?
He's like 38, 37.
Oh, okay. He
I
looks
don't
like a
know. Given his white hair and shit, I thought the dude was like 45 or some shit.
yeah. Yeah.
White people don't
You
age well.
know,
That's what I'm trying to say.
yeah. Yeah, exactly. That's why. Isn't he from a rich family or something?
That'd be kind of surprising, only because he was in the military. He was a Marine, and from what I've seen, most people in the military are usually not wealthy.
Huh, maybe I was looking at a different Luke Thomas then. Because, like, I was looking at, like, net worth and everything. It said 47 million. I'm like, what the fuck is he
No, no way. No, 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 no. Not even Ariel got that kind of money, and we know he got fucking money.
doing? Look it up. But he has that pretty little wife, right? From a different.
Ariel?
No, Luke
Luke?
Thomas.
I
Yeah.
don't think I've ever. I know his wife's Colombian. That's all I know about it. I've never seen a picture of her.
Yeah. I have to look it up again.
We're here talking about fights. For some reason, we get sidetracked and talking
I
about
know.
Luke Thomas. I don't know. Like I said, it was just it came to my mind because this whole flyweight division is such a clusterfuck that this is what we're reduced to. But that's the co-main. We're gonna talk about the main now. And
Seriously, I just looked it up. Sorry, it says net
uh
worth 47 million.
I'm gonna look this shit up after the show, and we're gonna, yeah.
I was surprised too. I was like, what the hell?
Unless he's just leeching off the wife, and she's like a Wall Street banker or something.
I don't know, man.
We'll see. Yeah, main event time though. Francis Ngannou and Junior Dos Santos. This is a fight that I know it's good, but for some reason I just haven't thought about it much. I think it's just it being heavyweight. It's so erratic, so volatile. It's hard to make a smart pick because anything can happen. The one thing that has stuck out for me in this fight though is that if Francis Ngannou wins, he'll be the only person to beat both Kane and JDS.
Damn, dude, for real?
Yeah, I was looking at the records and I was like, all right, not a lot of people have beat JDS. And then I'm like, well, his last fight was Kane. I'm like, not a lot of people have beat Kane. Has anybody ever fought? Has anybody ever fought and beat both of them? And then Verdum fought both of them, but he didn't beat JDS. Ben Rothwell lost to both of them. I'm like, nobody's ever beaten both of them. And the other thing is, Ngannou in his last two fights has fought less than 90 seconds.
Yeah, scary.
So
yes,
this is really just a coin flip to me because I can see JDS just outboxing the fuck out of him the way he did to Ivanov for 5 rounds. I can see him knocking him out too, but Ngannou's still Ngannou. Yep. And I swear, this isn't even a thing because I'm a JDS fan. I do like JDS. But if Ngannou fucking blasts him into orbit, I'm going to be fucking pissed. Especially if it's in the first minute, in the first round. I want to just see something from him, man, because it's very likely that Ngannou wins, knocks him the fuck out, is next in shot for the belt, whether that's Stipe or DC or, those should be the only guys. He gets another title shot, and then the same fucking thing happens. He just gets out-jabbed and out-wrestled, and we're back at square one where we don't know shit about Ngannou besides what you proclaimed on one of the earlier shows, that he can just, quote, kill bitches.
Seriously. I don't know what he's doing at the Performance Institute, but that's all he does is just kill people. Kill bitches, man.
Have we ever known so much yet so little about a fighter like Ngannou? Given his record, given how many fights he has, like, we should know so much about him at this point, and honestly, we really don't.
Nope.
He might as well be a UFC newcomer. Like, that's how much we know about him.
Right? I mean, JDS's best bet is to take him down and see what happens. But
did you see his comments or the whole thing of like he's not a legit? But he's basically parroting Chael type thing.
What? What did he say? I didn't hear it.
I didn't see the full comment, but it was something like, I don't believe that's a legit black belt because JDS is a black belt, but it's kind of like.
Oh yes, I did see that. That's right. I forgot about that. Ooh.
How sweet would that be if JDS? You know what? Fuck it. I'm going with JDS, and I hope he beats him by submission. Now, I'm only saying I'm going for it. I can't say that he'll win because, well, nobody knows. But secondly, it's heavyweight, so there's no guarantees in this shit. There's not even a logical probability. It's just a fucking coin flip.
I know, right? I have Francis down just because he's like the favorite on the betting line. That's the only reason why, because I don't know. With this one, it's hard to say. JDS has been looking good again. Like, yeah, just take him down and see what happens, dude. Talk about your black belt.
Right now, as you're saying this, I'm just getting images in my head of the Kane fight and the Arlovsky fight, and I'm like, fuck, he's gonna knock him out. But I already said it. I can't take it back. But yeah. I just have a bad feeling about this, but just more than anything, just please let it last more than 3 minutes. Let it last more than 3 minutes, and let more than 10 strikes be thrown, and I'll be happy.
I know. I want to see what happens. I don't know what's changed. Has he improved? But yeah, we don't know.
He had a 3-fight round with Lewis, and again, we found less about him in that fight than we have in. Yep. His title shot, his knockouts, it's absolutely ridiculous.
Yep.
So that does it for the preview. So we're going to get into our headlines of the week. And first up is Sean O'Malley has been pulled from UFC 239 because posting is real, folks. This, you can test positive for drugs months after the fact. It's apparently not just the Jon Jones rule. It happens to other people. White people, nonetheless.
Oh, Oh man, that sucks for him, dude, because he just got off his suspension. He's gonna fight soon, and this happens again, so he's derailed. He's on the sidelines for I don't know how long. Hopefully they can clear it up right away, but who knows, man? They only do it for Jones.
I love that everybody's a hypocrite with this. Like, and from everyone from the UFC to the commission to fans to media, like everyone was talking shit on Jones, and he's not. Me too. I don't believe that whole pulsing shit. I believe something's going on, and I know I don't know the full science behind it, but I mean something just there's fuckery afoot. And with Sean O'Malley is like, well, look at him. I don't think he's doing much, but
Oh, right? That's what I was thinking. He's skinny. Does
yeah,
he look
yeah.
like he takes steroids? He just
But
smokes weed, bro. Come on.
then again, look at Anderson.
Yeah.
Yep. So that whole even Josh Barnett, man. I know he's a big guy, but he's always just been a chubby white dude, man. There's really not fucking dad bod and shit. He's looked like that since he was 20, and he looks like that in his 40s.
Yeah. It's just, man.
But I mean, I don't know. Even when he first got busted, I was like that Ostarine shit. It's like it's like nothing. People have been testing positive for that for years, and most of the people that get busted from USADA is usually that, and it's like next to nothing. He only got a 6-month suspension, and it's doing it again. I don't know. I mean, I don't know if I should be mad at the state commission, if I should be mad at O'Malley, if I shouldn't care. I'm more than anything, I guess I'm just mad that he's not fighting. I'm not even a fan of his, but I'm just mad that he's not fighting because I like Chito Vera, and he was supposed to fight Chito Vera, and I thought he would win. So so far there hasn't been a replacement for him either. So who knows what's gonna happen with Chito?
Oh, man, that sucks.
Mhm.
Yeah, man. That's so crazy, though. They need to change some of those rules around, or just get rid of USADA. Fuck it.
Well,
Everything's not a sport anymore, anyway. So.
well, did you see that? Well, it was an USADA test that brought it up, but USADA's like, you're cool because we know that that's from 6 months ago, but it was Nevada that brought up the red flag. So it's like,
What the hell,
I
man?
want to blame Nevada. It was the same thing that happened with Jones. Like when USADA saw that, they're like, well, this is most likely from that test, so he's cool. And Nevada's like, nah, son, what the fuck is this? We need time to look at it. So that's why they pulled him.
I don't get it. Like, why are they getting tested twice?
Well, given that he was suspended, you have to pass a test before you get reinstated. Like there's a reason. It's just weird that the whole pulsing thing seems real now.
Yeah, but they're not talking to each other regarding it. USADA's not talking to Nevada and being like, hey.
I think even Nevada of all places has a thing of like, I don't know if we could trust you motherfuckers because you moved the whole card to another state because of yeah.
That's true, huh? Okay.
Just on a side note, although I didn't never believe Jones with his bullshit at the pulsing and all that, what does it say about the community, about the sport, that it takes a white man to test positive for us to actually believe that pulsing is real? And I'm guilty of this too. It's like, God damn it.
Well, I mean, given Jones's history,
he's a habitual line stepper.
Yeah, so there's that.
And apparently the UFC doesn't treat him good because he says that he'll think about being champ if the UFC treats him well.
God.
As if they never have or something.
Oh, God.
As if he's Tyron Woodley or something.
Wow. They moved an entire card for you, sir. Unbelievable.
Don't you just love narcissists?
Yes. Unfucking believable. And Dana's trying to overturn your fucking DQ.
That was, you know what? That's not even in the sequence that I have it in. But yeah, fuck it. Let's get into it. That's another headline. Dana wants to erase Jon Jones' sole loss to Matt Hamill.
Fucking bullshit, man. How much more are you gonna hand him? Like, aren't you done wiping his ass? Like, seriously, cleaning him up? Why? It was illegal strikes. Am I wrong in that? I watched that fight again just to make sure I wasn't crazy.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing about that fight is that I'd only been watching MMA for a few months at that point when that fight happened. And I knew it was illegal when I saw it, but it was like one of those things where I'm like, I think people forget what that feeling was. I don't know. I think people just wanted to rewrite history even after, like literally after the fact it happened, like a minute after they called the fight. Oh, well, that should have been stopped. It's like, Matt Hamill, yes, he wasn't fighting back, but at the same time, he was covering up. He wasn't taking actual damage. Now, should the fight have been stopped? Maybe. But as far as the damage goes, he wasn't taking much. The only damage he took was because of that elbow. He landed that elbow, and that's what broke his nose. Or if it didn't break his nose, he bloodied him up. But regardless, like that's what is like. Had he landed in just a regular elbow and that done that, they would have stopped the fight. But since he landed an illegal one, and it looked bad and it made him bleed, it's like, well, that's the rule, man. I mean, sorry. I don't like Steve Mazzagatti much either, but I don't think that was the worst call in the world.
No. He actually called the right one. What can you do, man? Seriously? Can you overturn everything else too then, Dana?
Let's just make Holly Holm featherweight champion since, Jermaine hit her after the bell.
Right?
She would
I
have
mean,
easily won that fight had she not got hit.
everybody saw that one. That was recent.
Yep, yeah, man. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. It's just this desperation from Dana that he needs to prove that he's the best fighter ever by making him undefeated. We all know, man. It's Roy Jones too. Roy Jones, when he was in his prime, he had one loss, and it was by disqualification. Everyone considered him undefeated because he never really got beat, so it's fine. I don't get what it really. The funny thing is of all this stuff and with this issue, one thing that Dana said that made me laugh was he said that Nevada was different then and it had like the worst commission at that time, and obviously he's just digging at Mazzagatti, but it's like that was when the UFC was booming. That's when Brock was in the sport. That was like around UFC 100. That was like it was a bright time in the sport. And I don't know, and Nevada, this is when the sport was still illegal in like 5, 6, 10 different states. But Nevada was the bad one in this case.
He's a fucking idiot, man. The rules never changed.
Yeah, they still have. See, that's the thing. Had the rules changed now, it's like okay, 12-6 elbows are now legal. I would have no problem with this. It's like all right, those were the rules then. You have an argument there, but it's still the same now. Like had the legal blow been if Matt Hamill had one hand on the ground and then he kneed him in the face and that hurt him and that was disqualification, well now it would have been like, well, that's not the rule anymore. So, you have some ground there. But this, come on, son.
Jon still hit a pregnant lady. You can't erase that one.
Yeah, there's some other things you can't erase though, which is gonna bring us to another headline. Desmond Green, he fucked up real bad. The news came out just a little while ago that he's been arrested on manslaughter charges because last year he was under the influence. Basically drove onto oncoming traffic. He veered off, drove into oncoming traffic, and caused this gigantic accident that ended up killing 2 women. He had all kinds of violations in conjunction to that and before that, and he's sitting in jail right now.
Crazy.
I don't know what's gonna happen to him, but I gotta imagine not good things.
Yeah, well, he has 4 DUI manslaughter charges, 4 DUI seriously bodily harm charges, possession of cocaine, 5 for DUI property damage, possession of drug paraphernalia, possession of at least 20 grams of or less of cannabis, felony driving with a suspended license, failure to wear a seatbelt by operator, careless driving. That's a lot.
A lot, yep. That's a lot. And then I don't know I think this was in Florida, right? Yeah. I don't know. They seem to be kind of the law and order people in certain instances. So I don't know if this is one of them, but yeah, this just does not spell good things for him, man. And I don't know. I don't know much about Desmond Green's past, but I didn't really expect this out of him. This really sucks, man. And it's kind of fucked up because it's in a spot where I don't feel bad for the guy. He's a piece of shit. He killed 2 people, whether willingly or not. But this whole thing is just one of those things that you see stories from time to time of someone under the influence doing some crazy shit, and it's like, man, just to me, it's just another actual public service announcement. Like, just don't drink and drive, man. Shit's real. Shit can happen, and then you don't want to end up like this dude.
Yeah, I guess he had problems before in college. That was just
Yeah.
marijuana or whatever.
Yeah, see, things like that. I don't care about weed and
Yeah.
but he
Wonder.
never had like a rap sheet that I knew of.
Uh-uh.
But this is some shit, man. Had
Right?
he yeah, this is not good.
It's crazy, man. And nobody knew, like his coaches never knew he had all this like piling up. I don't get it. It's just like the Jon Jones thing. Like they never, well, they eventually knew, but they couldn't like keep a hold of him, handle him.
It is weird that it took so long. This was August of last year. I don't know how they just booked him now. Like,
Yeah, right?
I because it doesn't say hit and run. I mean, was he at the scene, or unless it was just the toxicology reports, like they drug tested him and didn't come out till just now. I don't know. I don't know. I the story didn't say this for some reason, but yeah, it just sucks for everyone in the situation, man. Just again, don't drink and drive. This shit's no joke. And I say this as another headline. Jose Aldo has re-signed UFC contracts for 8. I've seen 7. I've seen 8. I guess it depends on whether you're counting his upcoming fight or not. But basically, 8 more fights.
That was a big surprise.
Makes no sense.
It doesn't. Like why?
The only way it makes sense is something that's just really dark and well, not dark, but just really sad is that the Volkanovski fight, unfortunately, might have put a fire under his ass. And
Oh
instead
God.
of just well, these are my last fights. I want to enjoy my time and have some fights here in Brazil and make some money out of it. I think now he's like, well, I'm never gonna lose again, so I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna beat someone. I'm gonna beat Volkanovski. I'm gonna beat Frankie Edgar again. I'm gonna beat Max Hall. It's like I think he may be have delusions of grandeur right now.
If Max is still around by the time he gets back to that path again, what's going to be different? Max beat him twice.
I know when I think we first covered it months ago when he said that he only had 3 fights left on his contract and he just wanted to fight in Brazil and had like some decent fights. I think we'd contemplated, right? We were talking about like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if Connor was his last fight and maybe he actually has a chance to beat him now because he kind of stopped giving a fuck. But with this contract, it's like, yeah, what are you expecting? And I'm almost tempted to say it. I don't feel sorry to say this, but you almost got to think if even CTE has something to do with it because it seems very impulsive, and that's kind of one of the good
Yeah,
first telltale signs. Like you're just doing weird, random, impulsive shit.
yeah, that's true, huh? You bring up a good point. Because, I mean, he was out the door practically again.
The
So,
the the other thing that it could be is also his trainer. What if Day Day got in his ear? Is like, well, you could do it, and then in that case, it's like, well, fuck it, I'll resign.
oh,
Like,
God.
you know what I mean? It brings up a lot of questions, and they're not fun questions.
Well, they got Anderson on an 8-fight contract. Now here's another one, another Brazilian. 8 fights. It's that magic number, I guess.
Yeah, maybe they have a thing with that. And as we know, Aldo's very superstitious. He won't even step foot in an octagon if he's not fighting. So who the hell knows? It's I don't know. It's just sad to me. That's not really good news. It's just it is what it is.
Yeah, surprising.
Another headline. This is to me like the story of the week. Uh, it's gonna lead to our matchup segment, but our last headline is Robbie Lawler and Colby Covington headlining UFC Newark on August 3rd.
God damn it. I hope Robbie beats the shit out of him. Do you feel the
Yeah,
same?
yeah, of course, yes. Yeah, it's. I mean, I don't see how Covington wins this because it's very similar to the Ben Askren fight. But the thing is that Covington is a good wrestler, but he's not the style. Even I can admit that he's not as good a wrestler as Askren. The only thing he has on him is that he's faster and a tiny bit more athletic. But Robbie doesn't really gas out, and he's a much better athlete than Colby. So
Yeah. he he said I agreed to defend my title in my first defense against the last real champion this division has had.
oh no, mames. Oh my God.
He's gonna carry that belt around everywhere he goes. He's
I
still
hadn't even read that. I mean, I try to stay away from any quotes, any things from Colby, but man, I don't think there will ever be a moment where people were gonna be just so happy for someone to lose. Like this is just like the Korean Zombie thing we were talking about earlier. Like it'll be even crazier than that because honestly, I swear to God, there are Colby Covington fans out there, and there are only two kinds of people. They're either like MAGA marks, or they're people who just want to be fucking like contrarians, and it's like they only like the quote unquote bad guys. They're the ones that are also like the number one Chael Sonnen fans, or like extreme, like really really hardcore wrestling fans. Are like, oh, he's playing a good gimmick or some shit like that.
Yeah. Like people like Dylan Dennis. Like it's the same thing.
Do they really?
Yeah.
Shit, that's disgusting.
I
Oh my
know,
god.
right? They're probably disgusting too. They got they got ringworm and shit.
Oh god. Yeah, but I mean, the I don't know. It's early to tell, and I know there's a lot of bias here of just we just want Robbie to win. But is it just me? Does it seem like he has a chance of winning? Colby anyway.
I think so. It's been a while since Colby's been in the cage, huh?
Oh, it's been about a year now. By the time they fight, it's gonna be like 14 months.
Yeah.
And it's been only because of somewhat bad timing. Another thing is not accepting fights. So
Yep.
the ring rust he can only blame on himself. He has good cardio, so I don't think he'll be that rusty. But seeing what Robbie kind of did to Ben Askren, like I think he's gonna look at Colby like another extension of Ben Askren. And then if Colby starts talking shit, God help him.
God, I can't wait, man.
God help him. That does it for that. So we're gonna get into our matchup segment. Well, there was many fights announced for UFC Newark, so I'm just gonna rattle them off, and then we're gonna get into a few of the other ones. So Volkan Ozdemir and Ilir Latifi was rebooked. That's gonna be on the Newark card, and this is the Lawler Covington card, by the way. Clay Guida is gonna fight Jim Miller, which surprisingly I was so shocked to find this out when I read the story. They have never fought, and Antonina Shevchenko is gonna fight Lucy Pudilova, which I think is a stellar fight. So, what are your thoughts on those, Reen? Of those three, which one do you like most? Just
Dang.
overall feelings.
Newark card's kind of stacked, huh?
Yeah, but here's another thing. I know this is the matchup segment. I forgot to mention it in the headline segment, but fuck this card. I'm already mad at it, even though it has great fights on it, because it's starting at West Coast time at noon. The main card is starting at noon. You fucking sacks of shit, man.
Why? People complain or something?
No, here's the reason. Apparently, this was never meant to be a U.S. card. This was supposed to originally happen in Russia, and then they were gonna move it to some other European country. I don't know if England or Ireland or something, but they moved from Russia to some other European country to Newark, New Jersey. And for some reason, I don't know if it's signed in the contract or they already have their schedule, so I don't know what happened, but I guess with ESPN, it's like, well, that's the time we're going to aim for, so that's the one you got to stick with.
Oh, God. Okay. Do they usually go to Newark? I don't recall.
I think it's been a while, but I mean, I think it's been a while only because they've been going to New York and New Jersey, they're so close that it's like, hey,
Yeah.
if you're in New Jersey, you want to see a fight, just go to New York. And if you're in New York, you want to see a fight, go to New Jersey.
Gotcha. Okay.
Very similar to like, Anaheim happening in a few months. Like, well, if it's not happening in Anaheim, it's happening in LA. Y'all can travel. It's only 30 miles away.
Gotcha. Okay. No, man, this is kind of stacked, but yeah, 12 o'clock. God damn it.
Yeah, it's like I tweeted on. I know East Coast fans. I know you stay up past midnight. I know you get tired. I know it ruins your weekend. Blah 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 blah. But I'm from LA. I'm used to having shit done my way, so I fucking hate this shit, man. I'm probably gonna be working that day too, with my luck, and I'm probably gonna miss this. This is some fucking bullshit.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah. Which usually, even when I work, is not really a big deal with most cards, because like by the time I get off, I can watch them. But if it's on at noon, like maybe I'll catch the main event if I'm lucky by the time I get out, depending on how quick the fights go by. So yeah, bullshit. But I don't know, of all those fights, I think I'm most excited for Shevchenko Pudilova because I really like Pudilova, and Shevchenko, I need to see some more out of her, and Pudilova I think is the right girl for that. Guida versus Miller is just one of those like, man, that's just like, it's so vintage, even though they've never fought. It's like, man, I mean, I would have loved to see that 8 years ago, 10 years ago as well, but
Yeah.
I'm not mad that we're getting it now. And then Volkanovski, Needler, Latifi. I mean, that was supposed to happen. Latifi pulled out what 2 or 3 days before the fight.
Yes.
It's just good they scheduled it early, I guess.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah, yeah. Two more fights though. Glover Teixeira is gonna fight Nikita Krylov at UFC Vancouver, which is taking place in September.
Yeah.
September 14th. It's a ESPN Plus card. No main event has been announced. Just another card another fight they announced. Yeah, Teixeira coming off of he who submitted Kudalaba, Krylov submitted OSP. Yeah, I know you have a thing for Teixeira, Reen, and I don't know. This is I know we're not really taking predictions, but just off the top of my head, seems like a hard fight to call because, yeah, Glover still has it, but Krylov, I didn't think he was going to beat OSP, so should be a good fight.
Yeah. He's gatekeeper. The top 10 gatekeeper.
He is, but he's not an easy fight, man. I wouldn't want to fight him.
Damn, dude. Crazy he's still doing the thing, man. This is a quick turnaround too, I think, because he fought.
It was the Hermanson card. I think that was April.
Yeah.
So, well, by that time it'd be September. It'd be like 5 months.
For him though?
Yeah, at his age, and there was Kudalaba, which I know he did good in, but then there was the Robertson fight in January, which he almost got his fucking brains knocked in, So
yeah,
good for him. I mean, it's kind of concerning, but also it's like you go old, man.
Damn.
You do the damn thing.
I hope he's like taking CBD or something.
Yeah, he looks like the type. He sounds like the type anyway. Glover has a amusing voice. Another fight, last fight on the matchups. Actually a replacement. So Julia, well, I want to call her Julia. I'll just go on with the Julia pronunciation. Julia Avila. She's an Invicta fighter who's going to make her debut at UFC 239 against a girl named Gato. I did not catch her first name. She was supposed to be a newcomer, I believe. But Gato dropped out. She got injured, and now Pani Kianzad is going to fight. And I like this fight way better. One, because I know who Pani is, but two, I think she's a good style matchup for Avila, and vice versa. I think Avila is a good / bad matchup for her. I think it should be competitive. But have you seen Avila fight, Reen?
No.
Yeah, she's awesome. Her name is her nickname's I believe it's the Raging Panda.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, she has a kind of a funny name. No, she's not Asian, by the way, as you could tell by her name. Well, I guess she could possibly be Filipino with a name like that, but it's just a funny nickname. I think she's like a nurse. She's like a really lovable, funny kind of girl, but she's a fucking animal in the cage, man. She's really exciting. She kind of reminds me of like a more crazy version of like young Paige Van Zandt. When she would just go berserk on people, like when she first came in the UFC. Kind of like that, but more striking and less grappling.
Gotcha.
More aggressive. And Panny's in the UFC. She's been around. She's a veteran, but yeah, I think I'm favoring Avila in this one.
Yeah. At 135.
Yeah. Kianzad went down. She was never a featherweight. I mean, she was, but only a name.
It's good to have her back. I mean, it's been a while. I think she hasn't fought since the Contender. No, not the Contender.
Tough. Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah. Since Ultimate Fighter, I think. Yep.
Yeah, Ultimate Fighter. So it's been a while since we've seen her.
Yep.
So. Yep. But yeah, it just sucks that there's no featherweights.
Well, Felicia Spencer's fighting next month, so we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. But those are for the matchups. So we're gonna get into something a little different, a little special for this episode, a little extended episode for you guys. So as I mentioned at the beginning of the show, it's the end of June, which means we're halfway into 2019 already, believe it or not. So we're gonna basically highlight a few of the fights, moments, just things that we've gone over in the podcast in the past 6 months, and things that stuck out with us. So I'm gonna go bit by bit. So the first topic I'd put is best fight, and to me personally, Kelvin Gastelum versus Israel Adesanya, UFC 236 is still my favorite fight of the year. Maybe one of my favorite fights ever. And I'm still convinced that nothing's gonna top it this year. What about you, Ian?
Yeah, that's still my favorite fight. That one stands out.
Nice, nice. So, and kind of, I mean, not that we're trying to keep the segment short, but I mean, everyone listening to this has to have seen this fight already, and I don't think there's much to be said, and you know how amazing it is. So,
Yeah, I
yeah,
hope they saw it, but if you didn't, definitely go watch it.
yeah,
What are you doing?
exactly.
You missed a good fight, man.
Yeah. Next one is knockout of the year, and there's been a lot of good ones in the past 3 to 6 months. But the one that stuck out to me, the one that I can see this getting changed. I had said in the past, the March episode, that Showtime knocking out Wonder Boy was my knockout of the year, and it's still up there. But I think Andrade slamming Rose on her head may have taken it over because it was so frightening and so weird to watch. Like it's just rare that you see a knockout that like kind of makes your stomach churn. And I know that's not necessarily a good thing, but for its uniqueness, I gotta choose it.
See, I originally was thinking of Jessica I versus Valentina.
That's a good one too.
Yeah, I was originally thinking about that one, but I remember the Till versus Masvidal fight. And I think that's still my favorite one.
Yeah, yeah, you'd mentioned in the last one, and I don't blame you. And it's yeah, I remember like 2 or 3 weeks after that happened, so many people were getting first round knockouts, and Masvidal tweeted something like, "Oh, I started a trend," and he kind of did because before that, there'd been some pretty good fights, but nothing that violent. And after that, it seems like everybody started doing it. I agree with you. I still love that knockout, and yeah, that's a good choice. For submission, it's weird because I was looking up and down, and yeah, I'm sure there's things that I missed, but going through all the top promotions, all the top fighters, and there's been very, very, very few submissions as of late. But the one that did stick out to my head, in my head, was Irene Aldana over Bethe Correia, that third round armbar. It was so nasty yet so pretty.
I'm just laughing because it was Betch.
It it happens, Rain.
I know.
Even even the best fighters get caught. Jose Aldo was submitted at one point in his life. Remember that?
Yeah. Well, mine is Teixeira versus Robertson because
Yeah, we were talking about that earlier. Yeah,
yeah, it's still my favorite because I mean he literally came back from the dead and came
that
back
was
from behind and like subbed him
that
with
was
the
almost like kind of like Tyson Fury, huh? Like Tyson Fury Wilder. He's just like fuck,
yeah,
and he's dead. Like oh shit, he's up.
yep, head and arm choke like just yep subbed him. It was amazing. So that still sticks in my head.
Yeah, yeah. It was very epic. I'll give you that. Like it was almost like cinematic. Like oh shit, coming back from the brink. You know?
Old
Yeah.
man got it.
My Tashara, you got to sing, huh?
Yep.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. Event of the year so far. And I gotta give you a shout out, Rain. Thank you for this one because I hadn't really thought too much about it. But yeah, I think you're right. UFC 238. That's where you're going with too, right?
Yeah, even though Cejudo headline.
Well, there's nothing wrong with him headlining. It was well to you anyway. The fact that he won.
Yeah, that too. I'm a sore loser.
But man, that was such an excellent card from literally from bottom to top. The first fight with Shukagian Calderwood, and then say what you want about Cejudo, that fight against Moraes was pretty awesome, pretty entertaining. And
Yeah.
then Cowboy Ferguson, Shevchenko I, Jan,
Yep.
man, just awesome fights all around. Good Suarez Anzarov, Grasso Kovalkovic, awesome fights.
So yeah, that's my favorite so far.
Ricardo Lamas getting his jaw broken.
Oh, I
Yeah,
forgot about that one.
that was bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. Moment of the year. I know I named Andrade knockout of the year, and I know you mentioned this one already too, Irene, but I don't know. There was just something really eerie and kind of scary about Valentina Shevchenko knocking out Jessica I. Couldn't really get my mind off of it, and I don't know. That kind of just stuck out to me as one of the moments recently. I I'm sure by the end of the year I'll probably bring out the Korean Zombie win, the crowd going crazy and stuff. But since it just happened a week ago, I didn't want to be that recency bias. But for now, I'm just gonna stick with that one. I'm gonna stick with Shevchenko knocking out I.
See, mine's a little different. I picked the three-piece in a soda incident with Masvidal and Leon Edwards.
And now that I think about it, I mean, it was iconic. But is that the first time we caught like a fight in backstage, like on camera, like actually like on UFC camera, not on like somebody's
Yeah,
phone? You know what I mean?
yeah. That was the first time, I believe,
Yeah,
they
and
caught a
not
fight.
the first time in a long time for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
and
and then,
nobody got arrested, mind you, especially happening in England, and have
right?
different laws over there, and yet nobody got in trouble.
Nobody got in trouble. It was all cool. But when it happened, it was like, oh my God, what happened? He just won a fight. Here he is, like, about to fight another guy.
Yeah,
And then we got the three-piece in a soda comment, and we
and the
got
T-shirt.
we got reintroduced to Jorge Masvidal and his views, his street fights, on YouTube started, becoming popular again, and it's just changed his 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 name. Like he
Hopefully, he
became really
annihilates
popular.
Ben Askren.
And then yeah, that feud started, and so it just started a trend, started all these
Yeah,
different things. So that was my moment.
and of course, if Masvidal beats Askren, and then well, who knows about the timeline? But if he beats Askren, does become the number one contender, maybe fights Usman at the end of the year, wins that. I mean, yeah, that's
Dude.
going to be even a bigger moment.
Yep. Yep.
So
So it's
props
gonna
to
be
you,
crazy.
props. Yep, no hate there. And the last one, non MMA related, but we're basically done with the MMA stuff in this show. The story of the year, the news story, not MMA story of all the ones we've covered. And I don't have the headline in front of me, but in the previous episode, I'll say it was in March or so, we talked about a woman who was arrested because she shot paraphernalia and drugs and all kinds of shit. And it was a t-shirt gun. Shot it over the over the fence of a prison, and that's one that stuck out to me because just the imagery. I don't know. I'm just a very visual person, and I picture that in my head, and it makes me laugh. I picture being on the street seeing that. I imagine being a prisoner seeing that. I imagine being a guard seeing that, and all of it just makes me giggle.
Yeah. Like, what were you thinking, man?
And then it made me make that clip that I put in the as a bonus clip in one of the last episodes of when you talked about her being in jail. You told bitch, why don't you put it up your ass?
Oh yeah, that's right.
That was awesome.
Yeah. I mean, just yeah. What were you thinking, man? Like, you don't think the people on the watchtower could like see you doing that shit? Like, I didn't get it.
It's like straight out of like Wile E. Coyote. It's straight out of the fucking Looney Tunes.
She must have been high or something.
Hopefully.
God, goodness. Well, mine was the drug parrot from Brazil who's trained as a lookout for the dealers. That was my favorite one. I thought that
And
was
what
funny.
and wouldn't snitch.
Yeah, wouldn't snitch. Was still in custody. Didn't say nothing.
To this day, we don't know if they killed it or let it go or if it's still in custody.
Yeah,
We
wish we
just
had
know that
an
bird is
update.
gangster.
All right, the most gangster fucking parrot ever.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep. Just as a side note, I guess since we're out of MMA and we're talking about news stories, it just reminded me of something. I've been listening to this other podcast, non MMA related. It's called Gangster Capitalism. It's about, I guess they have seasons, but the season right now they're talking about the college admission scandal, Lori Loughlin and all that shit.
Oh God, yeah.
They're going into detail about that, and they're like recreating phone calls, stuff with the FBI, the IRS, all the legal shit, and it's just so funny that the main guy of that whole incident, you think when you catch the main guy, well, that's that, we got our guy, case over. Well, they caught him, and he started ratting. The whole reason of why Lori Loughlin and Felicity Huffman and all these people got caught is because he started ratting on them. And I was just like, man, I've just keep hearing the show, and I've just been so hooked. But every time I hear, I'm like, God damn it, you white collar fucking crime people, like you have no fucking morals. You just start rolling over like crazy. And right now that you brought up that bird, it just made me think of that. Like, God damn it, some people will snitch within a second. And I'm not saying I'm one of these tough, but I'm also not a criminal. But if I'm gonna be one, I don't plan to snitch, man. At least do it right.
Yeah, snitching comes with consequences, so
Well, not if you're a white collar criminal, apparently.
yeah.
Goddamn rich white people, man. I don't hate white people, but something about the rich whites that gets my fucking blood boiling.
Yeah, well, they're privileged, so.
Especially when they don't know shit about crime. God damn it. God damn it. I gotta send you a link, Rainy. I think you'll enjoy this. You'll be hooked. But
Okay, I'll
that's
check it out.
yeah, we'll talk about that off air. But let's get into our the whole last segment of the show, our news story of the week. Headline is Bishop plans to spray. Start again. Bishop plans to spray city with holy water from helicopter. Quote: "We have to get rid of the devil." So this guy is Bishop Montoya, is what they call him. There's a quote from him. This is in Colombia. Buenaventura is a city in Colombia, apparently. And he said, "In Buenaventura, we have to get rid of the devil to see if we can return the tranquility that the city has lost with so many crimes, acts of corruption, and so much evil and drug trafficking. It will be great. It will be a great public demonstration for the entire community where we will pour holy water to see if so many bad things end and the devil goes out of here."
Wow, that's a lot of water, right?
I don't know how big this village and or city is, but I gotta imagine yes.
Dude, why don't they just like burn sage or something?
I'm wondering if they're gonna get like those helicopters, like when there's fires going, like those water tanker things,
Right? Because how would they do it? I don't understand.
or should they get like just a fire truck, just
Yeah,
spray the city with a fucking hose?
yeah, just go around. Dude, that's a lot of water wasted though. That's what I keep thinking. Like,
Well, I hope there's some kind of plant life in the city, and they mostly just water the plants, kind of kill two birds with one stone.
huh? So they're gonna like bless like a whole tanker, water tanker.
Isn't it funny that you can bless literally like 4 ounces of water in a little bottle by saying a prayer, and then you could also bless possibly a tanker with that same prayer? Like, shouldn't there be extra effort put into the size of the thing that you're using?
Right? Maybe like a whole bunch of churchgoers will be there praying with the
Yeah,
bishop or
or yeah,
something.
you need like at least 100 people to bless the tank, because it's too big.
Yep. Right?
Yeah.
Because he just can't do it by himself. He don't got that kind of energy, right? I
Yeah,
don't know
well,
how that shit works. I just know
me
that at
neither.
least sage works.
It does. Well, I don't know. I'm not. You know, I'm not spiritual, quote unquote. But yeah, I mean, I've burned sage, and yeah, it does give you kind of a weird feeling. It's soothing, cleansing, whatever you want to say. It's nice,
Yep.
but
Yeah.
yeah. So the city obviously has a lot of problems, and communities have got together to fight against some of the crime, some of the gangs, and have done their part. But I guess more can always be done. And this guy thinks that the holy water is the way to go.
Oh, interesting. What if you're not religious?
Mm, Good question. Probably a question I wouldn't want the answer to from this guy. I would hope he's totally benevolent and like, hey, you're still God's children, so it doesn't matter. But you know how things can be.
Weird. I hope they're not going through a drought or anything.
Yeah, true. I mean, we're from California, so I guess we always kind of have that in the back of our heads, right?
Right, like you can't waste water around here, man.
Yeah,
That's precious,
sure,
dude.
for sure.
Like, what about people in Michigan? They still got dirty water, right?
Yeah, they do.
It's
They
probably a
do.
whole entire town, whole entire
Yeah.
city.
Luckily, I mean, as far as the Michigan thing, this isn't their problem per se. But yeah, I get where you're coming from. It's like you're thinking about it in the local sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Water, you gotta pay for water sometimes, like bottled water. Like, that's what I automatically think of. Like, shit, man.
Cost of it.
The cost and shit. Like,
Well,
it
you're a
don't come,
mom. You're a mom, Rain. You got priorities and shit.
it don't come cheap, man. Just go burn sage.
That's a lot of sage you'd have to burn for a city.
It'll travel.
One leave will do it.
Yeah, man.
Nice.
It's all good.
That's how powerful it is.
Or just say a prayer. Good lord. Sorry.
There's a lot of aesthetic to this, right? He wants to show.
Yeah, I get it, man. I know, like, cracking jokes about it, but
It's a very serious topic, which brings up a very weird subject in religion, But
yeah.
I want to say that, good for him. He's trying to do something good. I guess no bad can come of it. It's just a
Yep.
very weird way to go about it.
Who's paying for it? Where's it coming out of?
Uh,
Whose faucet are we using?
um,
Yep. Yeah.
these are the questions that nobody seems to have the answers for.
Ain't
Yeah,
coming out of my faucet. I ain't
yeah,
paying for that shit.
yeah. That does it for us, though. That does it for tonight. Thank you for sticking around for this extended episode. They're kind of random. They're longer some weeks, they're shorter some weeks. It depends what's going on in MMA and what we want to talk about and how much we veer off topic. But either way, thank you guys. Thank you guys for sticking with us this long. Over 30 episodes now. Halfway into 2018. We've been going strong for what, 7 months now. And thanks to any new listeners. Thank you to the ones that stuck by us. Thank you even more. But that does it for us. So I'm Juice. You can find me at Juice_MMA on Twitter and Instagram. How about you, Rin?
Fox with you on Twitter and Instagram.
And that basically does it. Keep a lookout. I know I've said I've been planning on some stuff and I'm still trying to work on it. Just keep it locked, especially on Twitter. I'm sure to be announcing something soon. So still want to get some work out there. But one last time, thank you guys for listening. We'll catch you all next week. Later.
See ya.